Hola Maker Faire Galicia, me llamo Yannick, soy el director ejecutivo de NeuroTechX, es una comunidad internacional de neurotecnología y este año es muy especial para nosotros porque tenemos 5 años este año y soy muy feliz de estar con vosotros hoy, pero voy a hablar en inglés porque es muy fácil por mí. So I'm very happy to be here with you today in video format. Obviously, it's COVID situation, so we're trying all our best to still interact, connect with one another. And today I'm here to share a bit more of my story with NeuroTechX and how it started and why it matters in a context of makers and hackers in such event as Maker Faire organizes. So NeuroTechX is an international neurotech community. It started back in 2015. The mission of the organization is to facilitate the advancement of the field. That's a very broad and ambitious mission. And we do that mainly by focusing on 3 different pillars: community, education, and innovation. So the idea is really that if we connect people, people can know who's doing what, and they are well connected, they have a good network, and then they have the know-how, knowledge, whether it's on the business side, scientific side, technical side, more hands-on, but they have the knowledge, then they can go on and have an impact on the field. They can go innovate, whether it's by joining a venture, starting one, creating a project, solving challenges, but contributing in the field. So it's a very bottom-up organization. We do have several initiatives trying to address these 3 pillars. The most known one of NeuroTechX is obviously our chapters. So we have about 30 chapters around the world in different cities. We have presence in Australia, in Russia, in India, South America, Europe, obviously, United States and Canada. So we have a very active community that are organizing different events. Some of them are small gatherings, just getting together, talking about the field. Some of them are more technical, so workshops, hack nights, hackathons, things like that, where we actually work on different projects. Some of them are more scientific, like lectures, big classroom kind of settings, things like that. Some others are bigger conferences. Some others are more networking events. So we really try to address 360 degrees of different type of events to really attract everybody interested in neurotechnology, depending on their different backgrounds. So we really want to gather the whole community together with different events. So obviously not everybody will show up at all the events, but we try to have different teams so that we can gather, let's see, if we look over 1 or 2 years, then we'll have attracted everybody in the ecosystem. So that's our chapters. We also have student clubs. So we started student clubs mainly focusing on undergrads students. So if you're doing a master or a PhD, postdoc, you're already in a lab, in an ecosystem, you're already in your journey in neurotechnology. However, as an undergrad, the opportunities that you might have are quite limited. So we try to address that. So we help facilitate the opening on different student clubs in various universities. So currently we have a bit more than 25 student clubs in universities such as McGill, University of Toronto, McMaster, Berkeley, a bunch of other universities around the world. So very excited about that. We have hundreds and hundreds of undergrads competing every year at our international neurotech competition for the student clubs. So it's happening this year in November, exceptionally because of COVID situation. So November 22nd is the deadline for the submission of projects. So if you want to see more of the projects and what people are doing, because it's really kind of DIY hacker style projects, very exciting, go on our YouTube channel and just look for NeuroTechX Student Club projects, and then you'll see the one from last year and the year before that. A lot of different submissions. The idea is that they submit a 10-minute video of their project, and all the code is on GitHub, fully reproducible, fully open source. So this is really the mentality behind NeuroTechX. We want to be as open as possible so that everybody can redo projects, reproduce projects, and really learn from others. So I strongly encourage you that you go on the YouTube channel of NeuroTechX and have a look at these amazing projects. Last year, McGill won the Open Challenge by creating a mind-controlled wheelchair with the OpenBCI. So they use the OpenBCI hardware, which is basically an open source hardware. It's a bioacquisition board where you can have different electrodes that you position on your head. And from that, they were able to mind control with a motor imagery paradigm, where you think basically about moving your left arm, right arm, and then the wheelchair will move accordingly if you think about going left, right, forward. And they were also very clever in implementing some visual algorithm with a camera if you're going straight down a wall, for example. So very, very innovative solution created by them at a very low cost, very DIY, kind of like DIY approach. So really, really proud of that project and what they have accomplished. So that's for the Student Club. We have our online Slack platform where we have a bit more than 5,000 people connecting on a daily, weekly basis, just talking about the field, exchanging news, events, what's happening, engaging in different discussions, asking questions. So I strongly encourage that you join the Slack platform as well and interact with other neurotech enthusiasts from different places from all over the world, really. So that's the power of the community, so that when you go in new cities, you probably know already people that share common interests. Our EDU platform. So online, we do have a lot of resources on GitHub, on a wiki-like, kind of like a static pages with a bunch of information on different topics from neuroscience to more advanced machine learning kind of stuff. We do have a lot of notebooks kind of thing in Python, code that you can reproduce, that you can download, that you can learn from, that you can experiment, depending on what kind of devices, what kind of hardware you have to experiment. We do have some data sets also already uploaded there. So a lot of content to learn from and experiment, so that then after that you have the tool to create your own projects. If you want to stay tuned about the field, obviously our newsletter, we publish a monthly recap about what's happening in the field. It's very exciting because it's not too long, but it's fully packed with awesome content, really. If you're a neurotech enthusiast like myself, you will definitely like the newsletter, because we cover everything that's exciting. So from the big news, obviously these days we talk about Elon Musk, kernel, all these big announcements, but also we talk about FDA approval, some of the devices that are coming part of our lives, that are entering the market. We also talk about exciting research, cool events, projects, things like that. So definitely encourage you to have a look at that if you're interested in the field. We see really NeuroTechX as a platform for your journey in the neurotech field. So whatever your background, however far you are in your neurotech journey, whether you're an expert, professional working in the field, whether you're an undergrad, whether you're just someone who's curious about NeuroTechX, we see the community as being a funnel for your journey in neurotech. So you start with us, and hopefully in 5 years from now, you'll still be with us, coming to different events, leveraging the online resources that we have, contributing back to these resources, things like that. So whatever your background, we definitely have an initiative for you within the organization. More recently, what we've started also is NeuroTechX services. So more and more neurotech is becoming a bigger field, more money, more startup, more cool projects, more awareness, thanks to Elon Musk with Neuralink, Facebook with their initiative, and a bunch of other like kernel, things like that. So we really see a ramping up of exciting companies, of exciting products. So one thing that it created is more opportunities for jobs, from internship to higher level jobs, more senior jobs. So NeuroTechX as the largest neurotech job board in the world. Really happy about that, really proud of it. We work hard to provide all the exciting opportunities that are happening either in academia or industry. So we publish probably like 30 positions on both sides a week, something like that. So there are many, many jobs in the field. Obviously, we look at the macro picture around the world. So maybe in your city at that specific time for your specific skills, might not get as lucky as in other fields because neurotech is very niche, but still, when we look at the macro picture, there are a lot of opportunities in neurotechnology, which is very exciting for people like myself wanting to spend their career in the field. So definitely encourage you as well to go have a look at that. We also offer more tailored services. So for the companies out there that might be in the audience looking at this event, we also offer services trying to go more specific on the headhunting side of things. So we do offer headhunting services, trying to leverage, trying to connect what you're looking for with the talent in the community. So over the past 5 years, we've had a lot of companies coming our way asking for different needs, talent. And we've had a lot of very talented individual also looking for opportunities. So we've become very good at doing that matchmaking, that connection, and helping company find the talent they're looking for while helping the talent looking for the opportunities that they are looking for, both in industry and also in academia as well, to help research labs finding what they are looking for and the best PhD and master position for students. So definitely encourage you to have a look at that. One more initiative that I would like to discuss quickly is our book. So by the end of the year, we'll be releasing our NeuroTech Primer, which is a book around neurotechnology. So we cover 360. So if you're, depending on what you're interested in the field, you'll definitely find a lot of value in that book. The idea here is that for the past 5 years, we've had a lot of questions, a lot of people asking questions. So we're basically trying to answer all these questions in that book, so that when people are asking these questions, now we can say, just go get the book. So that's, we're very excited. It took a good 2 years of effort, of community effort, to make that book, and we're about to release it by the end of 2020. So we're very excited about that. NeuroTechX, we like to see ourselves a little bit like the Homebrew Computer Club, for those who know the story a bit behind Silicon Valley. So the Homebrew Computer Club was a niche group of people, computer enthusiasts back in the 70s, the 80s, in Silicon Valley, and people like Steve Jobs, Wozniak, even Bill Gates also. They all went to these events from that community during these like 10 years or so that the Homebrew Computer Club was this community meeting and just bringing people, computer enthusiasts back in the days, together. And nowadays, the Silicon Valley gives a lot of credit to that club that contributed a lot just by bringing people, exchanging ideas, and just this fertile environment. We know that works really well. Maker Faire is a great example of these kind of place where people can exchange, connect, build their skills, and work on awesome projects. So NeuroTechX, we're trying to become a bit of the Homebrew Computer Club of what created the booming in Silicon Valley. We're trying to do that at scale internationally by just bringing neurotech enthusiasts together to build that future ahead of us in neurotechnology. So keep in mind that back then in 2014-15, when we started NeuroTechX, there was no Elon Musk, Facebook, and all these big announcements. So it was really into the research and videos on YouTubes and things like that that we were aware of neurotechnology. And back then, few of the devices were starting to appear on the market, like the Muse headset, for example, like this device where you have 4 electrodes that are reading your brain activity. So you just put it on your forehead like this. And you start measuring your EEG, electroencephalography signal. So these devices used to be kind of more research oriented in medical or in university settings, but early 2010, we started seeing these devices appearing on the market, and that really opened a full new realm of DIY hackers, makers that could now play with that technology. So that was not the case before 2010, where EEG was really reserved to university settings or research labs and hospitals and things like that. But as we start seeing more and more of the consumer devices, maybe the quality was not and is not as good as the medical grade equipment that you would pay $50,000 to get that to do your projects, like your experiments and your studies. But with consumer devices, what it opens is a full realm of projects that you can develop skills by learning. So basically, you can hack these devices, create small projects, small BCI projects that you can control something, for example, like a small car, a small remote control car, these kinds of things, like a drone that you can control. And why it really matters is that you're building the skills as you're doing that with that kind of hardware, which is about $200, $300, $500. So totally accessible by most people, where you can buy these devices and really develop some skills in neurotechnology. Start understanding how the brain works, start understanding how biosignal works, start understanding how signal processing, how machine learning, and how you can really develop the skills for the full pipeline of what creates a BCI in that realm or other neurotechnology. But really, what was the core of NeuroTechX when we started was really the DIY kind of a BCI enthusiast. So that really is what created the core of NeuroTechX. And from that core, we expand also to other realms of neurotechnology. A good example of that is back in 2015, DIY TDCS was really popular. DIY TDCS, so TDCS stand for transcranial direct current stimulation. So the idea of sending a direct current stimulation, electrical current into your brain to stimulate your brain. So basically zapping your brain, sending an electrical current in the brain, trying to improve different cognitive functions. So basically thinking faster, having a better memory, things like that. So we were starting to see a lot of research showing positive outcome in that direction. And because the technology behind TDCS is fairly simple, basically you can take a 9-volt battery, put 2 wires more or less, and just put it both sides of your brain, and you're sending an electrical current through your brain. So at its basic form, obviously you need to do some a bit more of that, playing a bit with resistors and things like that. But you can do that at home for probably like $10 to $30 as a small electrical circuits. So people were starting to mess around with that. And this created a very interesting conversation for NeuroTechX and these kinds of community in the DIY and makerspace. What can we encourage? What should we encourage? And what should we not encourage? So that was a very interesting time. Now the DIY TDCS is not as popular as it used to be. A lot of people have tried. It's kind of still a gray zone where there are some positive outcome, but it's hard to reproduce and get the consistent results. So the hype has been diminishing a little bit. In terms of research, it's still going on. And now with TACS and TMS gaining a lot of popularity in the more clinical settings. So brain stimulation is definitely a very exciting field, a very booming and growing field. But in the DIY maker space of it, it's a bit less popular, I would say, nowadays than it used to be in 2014, 15. It was a very, very hype field. As we're moving with different technology, I talked about EEG, for example. So we've seen a lot of the consumer devices. A lot of people are making awesome projects, cool projects, from the hardware side of it to the software side of it, controlling wheelchair, drones, application, video games, trying to embed these sensors in VR to create closed loop system. So very exciting on the EEG side of things. And now we're starting to see already a new trend in the FNIRS domain. So in functional near infrared spectroscopy. So the idea, instead of reading your brain activity, your electrical brain activity, you're looking at at the brain with sending light. So you're basically sending a light, you're listening on the other side what comes out of it, and then you're doing an inference of what might happen in the brain, mainly on the blood flow activity that that modality is looking at. So by sending light and receiving out the other side, basically you can use low-cost hardware to create that kind of devices to measure your blood flow activity, which is correlated with your brain activity. So similar to EEG, it used to cost a lot of money to create these devices, and now we're starting to see a wave of lower-cost devices. Kernel has recently pivoted in that direction as well to create a headset, lower-cost, full headset with that kind of technology. Facebook is looking at something similar as well, optical imaging, not necessarily the FNIRS as we know it, but similar approaches, and other people as well trying to democratize that kind of approach using light to measure brain activity. So once again, we'll see another wave of cool hack projects from the hardware to the software, where a lot of people will be neurotech enthusiasts that will just hone that technology and try to develop new application, new ways of using it. And this is really what makes NeuroTechX awesome, in the sense that as soon as there is a bit of a new thing, then a bunch of people around the world are just messing around with it, trying to develop new projects, new ways to look at it, and really pushes the science. So I didn't want to take too much of your time to talk about NeuroTechX. If you'd like to know more, please go on our website, subscribe to our newsletter, and if you have any question, please reach out to me, Yannick Roy, on different social media, and I'll be happy to just talk about neurotech stuff in general. This is what I do on a daily basis. So always happy to meet new neurotech enthusiasts from different places of the world. So in the meantime, I wish that you have a great event at the Maker Faire Galicia. I hope that you keep building, making, breaking things, learning, because this is how we create, we develop skills, and then we can have an impact and create innovative solutions and products that then millions and billions of people around the world can benefit from. So to wrap up this presentation, we did receive a couple of questions from the Maker Faire community that wanted to know more about the field in general, and a few questions directed to me and the organization. So I will try to answer these 5 questions that we've selected. First question: when came up the idea of founding NeuroTechX? So the idea really came in 2014 when we started BCI Montreal. Back in here in Montreal, where I'm from, there was no big vision. It was just a small group of people interested in talking about BCI stuff. So we threw together a first meetup. We got together in Montreal. We're about 20 people maybe in the first one that we announced the meetup, and then from there 5 or 6 people went on to get together and create BCI Montreal as a official thing. So the first meetup was really just, let's get together, let's talk about BCI stuff. And then a few people, namely Hubert, Ferdinand, Sidney, myself, and Raimondo, we got together and said, yes, let's do another event. This was amazing. Let's do a second one. So we did a second one in a research lab in Montreal. A researcher introduced kind of the different research that they did. And then a third event, fourth event, and then the team kind of got together. Some people left and some people stayed in the course, some people joined, and then we really grew the community in 2014 until 2015. I started traveling in different places and meeting other people, and different people from different places, like in France, San Francisco. They reached out to BCI Montreal and said that this was awesome, that we had a neurotech or BCI community in Montreal, and they wished that they had the same thing in their city. So seeing that trend, we decided to create NeuroTechX and try to, instead of that, all the small communities being separated or isolated, why not have a global organization that can kind of help all these local community to get together, share resources, share best practices, content, and connect at an international level. So summer 2015, NeuroTechX was born. The first chapter were Montreal, New York, San Francisco, and Paris. And quickly after, we welcomed Toronto, Boston, and from there it just exploded in 2016, and we quickly reached 16, 17 chapter, and then we had to slow down the growth because it was too big, too fast, and we're not structured necessarily because we didn't have any outside funding or anything. So we had to slow down the growth to really refocus of what's going to be the next 5 years of the organization. So this is how it started, out of passion. What applications neurotechnology has today in professional environments? So keep in mind that we're very biased nowadays because we live in a world where everything goes fast, where we hope innovation, we hear about it, we hope that it's going to disrupt our life the year after that. If we just look at VR, so it was supposed to be the year of VR in 2014, and then 2015, and then 16, and it's been supposed to be the year of VR for more than half a decade now. And if I would ask who in the audience are spending at least 1 hour a day in VR, I'll probably get a very, very low response rate. So these kind of innovation, it takes time. Neurotechnology, we're talking about the brain, so it takes a lot of time. So it's important that we remain optimistic, excited, and that we contribute to the field and we push, but it's going to be a slow process. We're not going to all have brain implants in the next 2 or 3 years, even if we see Neuralink and Elon Musk talking about brain implants. These things take time. So in the professional environment, on the consumer, so let's split in half, more on the consumer space and more on the medical space, because I think that it's important with NeuroTech to look at different, how we're looking at things. Are we looking to solve a problem, which is related to brain diseases, neurological diseases and things like that, where it's really from a medical aspect? Are we talking about enhancing our experience, enhancing ourselves? So we talk about human enhancement, obviously, in that realm in a few years from now. Is it just to better our experience? For example, adaptive content. If we watch Netflix and we could have sensors reading our brain activity, detecting if we're enjoying it, not enjoying it, could the content adapt? We think about adaptive learning. So for example, in VR, can we make an AI agent that is connected with our brain activity in real time as well, understanding if we're finding the content easy, if we're understanding, if we're lost, if we're too fatigued, but really so that the AI agent, similar as a teacher would do with us, a one-on-one, would look in our eyes and look at our face and identify if that student is lost, if the teacher needs to change his approach or her approach of teaching, if should go back to the content because you were lost 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. So we will see more and more of these technology. Right now, a lot of the work is being done, I would say, in research, but still there are a lot of different startups commercializing different products for the consumer market, and obviously in the medical space. So there are a lot of technologies already out there, and it's only going to increase more and more, just because the brain is at the center of everything, basically. So the more we learn about the brain, the better technology, the more application we'll see in our day-to-day life. So our life hasn't been disrupted necessarily at the mainstream stage just yet, but it's definitely coming in the next couple of years. Right now, most of the development obviously is coming from the medical space, because this is also where the research is being funded from. Third point, neurotechnology seems to be dominated by technician people. How do you see the involvement of people from a variety of knowledge areas such as technology, neuroscience, psychology, philosophy? This is a very, very important question. We're about to shape the neurotech future of human beings. I think that this discussion and the way that we're shaping up that future, it matters, and it should be in the hands of everybody. It's not a technical problem. It's a societal problem that we're trying to address here. We're about to redesign what it means. If we push the exercise a bit further, we're about to redefine what it means to be human. Where is the limit at which we separate brain and technology? We're combining these two things. So it's about to challenge our core of human beings, and this discussion is not an engineering question. It really is a societal question that everybody needs to participate. And this is really what NeuroTechX is also about, is this, as the field is moving forward, continually talking and engaging with the public, with people with different mentality, with different beliefs, with different views on the world, with different skills, opinions. And this discussion needs to shape up. It's not a one-time discussion of kind of where the future is going, but really a conversation that many people needs to be on board with and contribute to that discussion. There's a lot of ethical problem that will arise in the coming years. There will be a lot of misinformation out there, of kind of like misclaim. Not necessarily. Sometimes it's just bad or fraudulent on purpose, and sometimes it's just not really, the device just not doing as well or what it was intended to do. So we'll face a lot of challenges in the years to come, and obviously we need people from different fields that can help build that future the best way possible. So there's definitely room to join that field, whatever your background is. So if you're coming from philosophy, psychology, neuroscience, obviously neurotech is a very multidisciplinary field. So yes, it's ratio-wise, yes, it's a bit more, there is more technical people like engineers, electrical engineering, software engineering, but definitely the field welcomes many different paths that can lead. You will simply have a different role in what kind of product, services, company, governmental agencies that you end up working with or working for. So you'll have a different role, but definitely the field needs all these different fields together. Fourth question, what is your vision about neural rights? How do you think we can advance on neurotechnology and avoid potential risks due to the misuse of this technology? So as I just mentioned, very important question. It's too early and not too early at the same time to talk about neural rights. We already have neurotechnology out there. We already have devices that are reading our brain activity. If we just take the Muse, for example, Muse is collecting thousands and thousands, if not millions of users around the world for hours and hours of recording where they have an intimate relationship with people's brain, but also people's habit. So you sit down, you meditate with this device. So you have an intimate relationship with people and their daily habits and their brain activity. So what can you do with that? Right now, it's still a bit limited, but we're trying to understand more and more of the brain and what we can get as information out of these devices. So as this evolves, it will become more and more important to have some of these neural rights. So there's already some initiatives. If you just Google neural rights, for example, you will see a couple of initiatives from big entities trying to slowly address these questions. So no need to panic just yet. We need to put all our resources in there, but this is a discussion that needs to be started now. It's already been started, and we need to just continue as the field evolves to make sure that the discussion and these things are considered as we move forward. Because yes, there will be misuse of this technology. As with any technology, unfortunately, we are living in a tech world. We always had thieves and police. We'll always have kind of a black hat, white hat hackers kind of thing. We'll always have people that are trying to break our system. Viruses, antiviruses will always have that. I don't think that the race will never be over on one side or the other. Same thing with our privacy, our data. We live in a world now where our identity is online. It will be stolen. It will be gotten back. So I think that this is the world in which we live in. We'll try to do our best, but the same way, fake money has always existed, will always exist. People stealing always existed, will always exist. I think that technology is not inherently bad or good. It's the people that are using them, and will always have bad people trying to do bad things with the technology. So I don't think we can blame the technology. I think that it's important that we do realize the potential harm that such technology in bad hands can lead to and can do. And once we've identified that, we try to protect that and limit that damage. But we'll never be able to stop it, nor should we blame the technology for misuse. Nowadays, NeuroTechX is one of the biggest not-for-profit and most important organizations about neurotechnology. Do you feel backed or supported by governmental entities, universities, organizations, or companies? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that obviously we're in touch with most of the companies in the field. Many people knows us around the world, whether it's universities, researchers, people, enthusiasts, hackers. We're collaborating with Makerspace. We've done with Maker Faire. We've done Maker Faire activities and events in New York, in San Francisco, Paris, in different places. So we're definitely, our name is there, the branding is there, and it resonates, and there is a mission associated with it. So we're very happy of where we are today, very proud of the impact we've had, of all the impact, all the individuals that we've impacted and changed their path in the neurotech journey. By changing, I mean either joining the neurotech journey and going down that road, or simply accelerating it by providing resources, contact, job opportunities, projects, things like that. So we're very happy about that. One thing that we're short a little bit, we're falling short on, is the support from government. So we haven't had any big outside funding. It's been bootstrapped, it's been sponsorship, it's been companies, small little grants here and there, but we've never had any big support from governments, which I think that right now we're in a position to try to ask for a bit more support, but that would be the only thing that I would say. That everything else, the whole field, we're very well positioned in the field right now. I'm really happy about that, but government, not really. The main reason for that is because our model is a bit different. So if we're going after research per se, there are grants and there are support for that. The model is well understood. If we go after creating startups and investment and that side of things, it's really well understood. There are programs for that. There are government agencies that are handling that. We're a community, and a bit like the DIY hacker communities. It's hard to get money for that or support from the government for these kinds of things, because how do you fund or how do you support community? What does that mean? So you really need to break down into small projects, and then you can get a bit of support for one project at a time. I'm doing this event or this project, and we anticipate this return. Can you support this specifically? But try to get a macro support for all the initiatives that we're doing and all that we're doing, even if we can right now show all the impact we've had. Unfortunately, we haven't had maybe we haven't knocked at the right government door, but no big government support at this point for that. This is definitely the next phase for NeuroTechX. Now that we can show impact that we've had, we hope that we will be able to work more and more with different governmental agencies around the world to continue the growth and the impact that we're having. So on that, I hope that a couple of things that I said resonated with you, and that you will engage with the NeuroTechX community. And if you're a neurotech enthusiast, if you want to know more, please go on neurotechx.com, and you can reach out to me directly as well if you have any question. In the meantime, I wish you once again a great event, and connect with your NeuroTechX Galicia. More importantly, connect with your local chapter. We have a chapter in Galicia, so very, very happy about that. We do have a Barcelona community as well. So please, if you're most likely you're in Spain, if you're watching this, connect with one of the two chapters in Galicia. Please reach out to your local chapter. If you're not sure where or how, just email info@neurotechx.com, and we'll be happy to redirect you with the right resources, whatever you're looking for. So with that, hope to see you around, and hope to have interesting discussions with neurotech enthusiasts out there. Take care.